What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark, MyMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and I'm here to talk about Disneyland's 70th anniversary, which they're celebrating this year by releasing some first-person POVs onto Disney Plus. That's what we're going to call them. You can find these. For me, I watched them early on in their release, so they were up in the carousel, up at the top. I don't know when you're going to check them out. But I kind of wanted to talk about how, what does this all mean? What does this all mean? What has Disney done? Because I think Disney has failed. Disney, Disney has a missed opportunity here, and it's kind of like stepping in shit, basically. Sorry, I use profanity. I'm an adult. Uh, this isn't like a Mickey Mouse video. I'm sorry if you saw Disney and you're like, oh my god, for kids. Um, so I get it. You don't want to release the whole park because you want people to come to Disneyland, but you want people to have that experience. You want people to see sort of like what it is. And so honestly, and I'm sure somebody pitched this too. They were in the meeting. They're like, you know what? People can just see this on YouTube. Like, there are a whole bunch of families who have gone on every single ride, and you can just look this up on YouTube. And there are all these POV rides. I used to, before I lost my sight, I used to look up POVs of rides before I'd go on them, before I'd seen them or had the chance to, whatever. Or rides that weren't even like in my area, like out of town. I would watch people go on rides. Like, you can do that. It's on YouTube. And plenty of people upload their crap onto YouTube. I really like the people who go into the parts of the park they're not supposed to go into anymore. The Triceratops thing in Islands of Adventure that was there for years. I think they finally got rid of that. But for years, it was so, I live in Orlando, so I used to walk past things and it was so obvious where that thing was. I mean, they put this little gate there, like a little fence thing, but you could still see there's clearly a path. There's clearly a path right there. They didn't even hide the path. They couldn't even, it was really obvious that we're going back there to something and to where, so most people who had been at the park when it opened knew that that's where that was at. So people had hopped back there and ran back there and of course got, I'm sure, lifetime bans to Universal as a result. But so yeah, this stuff is on YouTube. You can just look it up. But what this allowed Disney to do is to do it professionally, is to do it so that instead of having these grainy sort of shaky cam family things where the family members are in it and dad's not really focused on what you want him to be focused on because he's focused on the kids. You get to sort of do like your version of a first person POV, like if we were in the ride. And with all these VR headsets, it's got to be looking pretty cool for people who are sighted. The problem is we're not all sighted. The problem is that some of us are blind and low vision, and we can't take full advantage of this experience. We need something called audio description, which these don't have. They released all these first-person POVs without audio description. So it's an experience that only some people can have, which honestly, that's kind of how we live our lives, is so many times our experiences as blind or low vision people that we can't have because either it's not for us, there's an insurmountable amount of barriers between us and the thing that we're trying to do. We need accessibility that isn't there. Pick one, pick all of them, throw them all together. There's an apathy, there's a lack of care. Because I think, again, speaking as somebody who I had perfect sight at one time, I can tell you, you don't think about it all the time. But when you're in the kind of positions, when you're trying to provide an entertainment experience that's for everybody, and you don't opt into audio description whenever possible, that's a choice. That's apathy. That's like somebody at Disney knows about audio description and knows they should be putting audio description on these things and just aren't. So I watched a couple of these. I sat through 5 of them. I sat through Tiana's ride, the Splash Mountain redo, which was Cool. Um, I sat through Main Street USA. I sat through the Pixar Pals. I think that's what it's called. Uh, and I don't even know what that is. It's part of the reason I sat through it. I was like, no idea what this is. I sat through Haunted Mansion and Incredicoaster, which is really short, by the way. Man, that ride's over. You're in that ride and over in like 4 minutes. Um, but yeah, so there are lots of good things here. First of all, like I noticed while watching Main Street USA, you never get that kind of audio quality because normally when you step into the park, there are like thousands of people bustling around you trying to get to wait in line. You know, they're fast passing to wherever, whatever we call it now, Genie Pass or I don't know, to get to their ride, and so they can stand in line for 60 minutes before they ride something. So, you know, they're hopping all throughout the park. So Main Street is never this clean. I didn't realize how much sound design these things had. You know, I was like, man, this is legit. It's like you can actually hear the stuff that's being piped out of the speakers. You can actually hear these things. But so it was kind of a cool experience because you didn't hear like the crowd, the throng of people. So yeah, it was probably the most immersive experience you'll ever have at Main Street USA. And I'm assuming like Mickey's Toontown Fair is probably the same thing. Actually being able to hear the area. So a lot of these rides, most of them don't actually have audio description as rides, which is a fun fact. I looked up the rides at Disneyland that have audio description currently. So I know for a fact like Haunted Mansion does. It's a little bit more ambiguous with things like Main Street USA because they say that there are like some areas in the park that have audio description. I don't know if walking through Main Street, if you have audio description to be able to see the storefronts, to be able to see like the little window, Walt's office. I don't know, but I do know Haunted Mansion has audio description as a ride. It does not on the video, so that's a problem. But it's also an opportunity for the rides that you feel like your audio description equipment is too dangerous on for us blind people who, I mean, there are people who they can go to Disneyland, but they can't get on certain rides and get the audio description. But they could have gone home and sat through this first-person POV of Tiana's ride or the Incredicoaster and actually gotten some sort of description on it of what they were missing. Like, this is a huge missed opportunity for Disney, and yeah, I'm gonna throw them behind the vehicle and back over them with it because, man, talk about the most like ableist experience that you've created. You've created a first-person video experience that you just were like, we don't need audio description. But for like so many of these things, they're like, you would consider the experience to be, you know, not one that we can wear headsets on because it'll go flying off in the Incredicoaster, you know, or it'll get wet on Tiana's ride. So for rides like that, it's the first time for us to be able to experience it in almost like a full way, you know, even for people who've been on the ride before, they finally are like, oh, so that's what that was. So not only are you giving people maybe who can't go there, because let's face it, not everybody can go to Disney. People are financially strapped. We also have people with mobility issues. You also have people, the thing that's cool about this is, you know, there are plenty of people out there who just can't get on rides. There are plenty of rides that have, you know, don't go on this ride if you have this medical condition. And some people just can't go on those rides, but they can watch the video of it. So to know that there are these experiences in these rides that could have very easily had audio descriptions to be able to bring these people in, it's like you didn't really create an immersive experience, did you? You just created a very sort of specific experience for certain people is what you did. It doesn't really celebrate the 70th anniversary for everybody. It allows certain people to celebrate the 70th anniversary and reminds other people why they can't. So thanks for that. That's the Disney magic at work. That's the Imagineers right there. That's how you know, draw creativity from diversity. yeah, so I wanted to point that out because it's absolutely the time to drag Disney for the lack of accessibility in this area. You had an idea and you failed at it. Some of these rides are pretty cool. Some of them I've done when I could see. Some of them are incredibly limiting. I mean, they're kind of fun, but like without audio description, like Soren is just kind of being tilted upside down. It's like if you don't know what you're seeing, it's not the most fun experience, I wouldn't think, because you just kind of, anyway. Please put audio description on these videos. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.